Hello, this is Dr. Sandra Steed, and I'm here in my office and I'm reflecting on a topic that is near and dear to my heart, something I've studied for years, and I continue to get excited about the results that can happen when we talk about increasing unity through effective communication, or another way to say it, reducing divisiveness through effective communication. Is it just me, or have you also noticed that our divisiveness has somewhat increased in our nation? Through the years as a business consultant, I've been in and out of very large companies to small companies to nonprofit organizations. And one thing that I've observed through experience is that when divisiveness increases, productivity decreases. I'll say that again. When divisiveness increases, productivity decreases. I've noticed the same can happen in any organization, whether it's a church or even a family. The more divisive, the less productive. Now, when I talk about unity, I'm not talking about everybody agreeing. As a matter of fact, I often say this: if both of us are identical, one of us is unnecessary. You see, we need people that see things different from the way that we see them. We need different filters. It's how we can maximize our excellence. But I'm talking about being efficient in knowing and understanding that we are all different. See, the moment you understand that we're all different, the better we're going to get along. And not only knowing that we're different, but how do you celebrate those differences? And those differences can happen at various different levels. I am convinced that whenever we face one of life's challenges or major opportunities, it's also our greatest opportunity to review the basics. We must be brilliant in the basics. Let me give you an example. Let's say that we were working with a professional basketball player, and the basketball player was suddenly getting bored or disinterested in the game and said, I want to do something different than just dribbling and shooting the ball. What happens is they would, or he would, she would not become a champion. Why? Because there's never a time where we can retreat away from the basics. The question is, how good are you at the basics? How brilliant are you at the basics? Well, here's my point when it comes to unity. The basics of understanding differences. If ever we're going to improve and remove divisiveness, we must go back to the basics and understand that people are wired differently. And that's a good thing that needs to be celebrated. But see, when we just have a really surface understanding of that, we may not know how to implement it. And so I am saying to you that there are some brilliant tools out there that study the temperaments or the personalities that gave us the basics of understanding. It's as basic as understanding that if I travel to all of the continents, there's not a place on the planet where I would go and encounter people who did not share the same physical characteristics in terms of organs. They have lungs, they have hearts, they have kidneys. That doesn't change. And so medicine can't depart from the basics, and neither can we. If we want to communicate better, we must go back to the basics and understand the designs of each individual. Each person has a fingerprint and a DNA that's very, very original to them. And we must understand that, and there are tools to do that. Now, I am excited about one of the basics being the DISC theory. I also love emotional intelligence, but I'm just talking about DISC right now because I think it's a basic that we need to get back to it. We need to understand that there are people who might be aggressive in nature, but they're still good in their heart. There are people who are expressive and persuasive, and yet they're not the administrative geniuses of our organizations. There are people who really enjoy stability and they really don't like confrontation. And then there are people who are highly analytical and they're not trying to make your life more difficult because they ask a lot of questions. They're wired for details. The more we understand how people are wired, then some what we call chaos and confusion could be just a personality difference. Are you ready to take a deeper dive in the basics of understanding communication? Then I believe one of the basic tools that we must return to is understanding those personalities. That information goes all the way back to Hippocrates. And in 1936, Dr. Marston was the one who really brought us that information in its finest form. And we've seen transformation and results when people can get down to the basics of understanding that we are all different, but we can celebrate that difference. I challenge you today to look at someone in your organization not through the eyes of sameness, but through the eyes of difference. And once you can identify that difference, can you also celebrate it? I challenge you because it will make a difference. Take a deeper dive today. Understand how they're wired. Understand what the differences are. Remember, if both of us are identical, one of us is unnecessary. Celebrate the difference, and I'll talk to you real soon. Bye.